Yeah, I'm sure you've heard it by now. Puffy was found guilty on 2 counts, okay? Not for sex trafficking, not for RICO, just for transporting women across state lines to sell sex. That's it. That's what he was convicted of, right? And now there's a real chance this man might walk. But okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to call a thing and just say what it is. Cassie's testimony was long and emotional, and she was the one everybody was watching, right? She was the star witness. But if we're going to be 100% honest and keep it a buck, she wasn't the so called perfect victim, okay? Not even close. And that's because Cassie went back. Cassie planned some of those freak offs herself. Cassie was texting Diddy at Kim Porter's funeral, talking about she was mad that he called Kim his soulmate. All right. Cassie told Diddy she'd leave her now husband to come back to him, even after everything she said she went through, as long as he promised to make her number one. All right. And that's what the jury saw. That's what they saw. Not a trafficked woman, not a victim of a criminal enterprise. They saw a complicated relationship that looked toxic, but not criminal. Okay. Shit. Look, this man didn't beat the system because he was innocent or because the jury didn't believe abuse happened. He got off because it didn't look like the kind of abuse they know what to do with. She kept showing up. She kept playing the game. And the moment she stopped acting like a quote, good victim, the jurors probably checked the hell out. You can talk freak offs, pills, control, isolation, trauma. Shit, you can talk about that shit all the damn day long. But if the victim is still calling, still texting, still showing up at the hotel suites, a jury does not know what to do with that. So they went for the safe charges, right? The ones that didn't require them to understand Cassie. And hell, you can be mad. You probably should be. But if we're being honest, this verdict makes sense if you're only looking at what the jury had to work with. Because again, once they heard Cassie say she kept going back, once they had evidence showing that she wasn't just a victim, but sometimes a participant, once she admitted she planned some of the freak-offs herself, the case stopped sounding like trafficking and started sounding like regret. And RICO is a big charge, right? You're going to need 2 solid predicate crimes to make it stick. They only got him on one, the Mann Act. Everything else, the pills, the assaults, the threats, the jury didn't connect those dots. Not cleanly, right? And not beyond a reasonable doubt. Let's keep it a buck. So they defaulted to the lowest possible charge they could agree on and left the rest of that shit behind. But let's break it all the way down, okay? Because out of 5 federal charges, the jury only found Diddy guilty on 2, all right? He was guilty on count 3, transporting Cassie across state lines for prostitution. Count 5, transporting another woman referred to as Jane across state lines for prostitution. Both fall under the Mann Act, right? It's not trafficking. It's not RICO. It's not assault. It's basically saying, yes, you flew these women out to do sex work. That's the charge. He's not guilty on count 1, racketeering conspiracy, aka RICO, claiming he was running a criminal enterprise. Count 2, sex trafficking of Cassie by force, fraud, or coercion. And count 4, sex trafficking of Jane by force, fraud, or coercion. Listen, the jury believed he transported women for sex, but they didn't believe it rose to the level of coercion or criminal conspiracy. They didn't buy the RICO narrative, okay? They didn't believe it was organized trafficking. They saw freak-offs, not a cartel. Now, technically, each Mann Act conviction could carry up to 10 years, but let's be real, okay? Diddy's rich. He has no priors, and the heavy charges didn't stick. So, more than likely, he'll just walk with probation, maybe a fine, hell, maybe even a few months in jail. But this is not going to be a long prison sentence, in my opinion. I don't think so. This is more like a slap on the wrist. Okay. I mean, okay, he's technically a convicted felon, sure. But does this really feel like justice? I mean, does it feel like it, right? This verdict doesn't mean he didn't do it. It doesn't mean he did not do it. It just means that they couldn't prove it. And that's not the same thing. The humiliation, the abuse, the power plays Cassie said that she lived through, the jury didn't call that a lie. They just didn't call it a crime. So, does that mean that her story is false? No. Does it make it harder to trust? For a lot of folks, yes. Especially when the details start looking like choices, not abuse, right? And that's where I think the jury got stuck. Once her pain started looking like regret and not fear, they just couldn't convict off of that. Because whether you believe Cassie or not, this case showed us that being hurt and being legally victimized are two different lanes. And only one of them holds up in court. It just is what it is. Right? And honestly, not a damn thing is going to change. Because there are no consequences, not no real consequences, right? The industry doesn't care about what's right. It cares about what's profitable. And Diddy, for better or for worse, right? He's still connected to too many people and too many deals, for folks to just completely disown him. Not only that, he's not broke or blackballed. He's not even banned. If we're going to keep it up, a buck. And yeah, he lost a few brand partnerships, but listen, behind the scenes, the same folks who ghosted him publicly are probably still answering his calls privately. Okay. That's just how this shit works. So yeah, he got charged with something, right? But nothing about this verdict disrupts the system that let it get this far in the first place. And if Diddy figures out how to flip this shit and rebrand, somebody will let him. Hell, Chris Brown did it. He beat the shit out of Rihanna and y'all still bopping. Just saying. Labels only care about the bottom line. And look, everybody saw something different in this case, right? Some folks saw justice, some saw a cover up, some just saw a bitter ex airing it all out when her check stopped coming in, okay? But whatever side you land on, none of this shit feels like closure. Because if you believe Cassie, then this verdict, it wasn't enough, right? It just wasn't enough. And if you don't believe her, you're probably thinking, then why was he charged at all? Right? It didn't give the survivors a real win. It just gave the internet something else to argue about. So y'all tell me, was justice served? Did Cassie help or hurt the fight against industry abuse? And do you think Diddy is ever really going to face the music? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, bet you know now.